G'day, it's Robbie again. Well, today I'm going to have a look at a product that was sent to me from a company, an internet store called LighTake. I hope I pronounced that right. LighTake. And they contacted me a while back and asked me if I was interested in reviewing a Stirling engine that they had on their website. They have quite a lot of little external combustion engines, Stirling and steam, flame liquors. And the one they offered me was quite an expensive one, and I had a look at their website and they had a steam engine there that caught my eye. It's a sort of a retro style one, retro, modernistic. It's unusual, but I've never reviewed a steam engine before, not with a proper boiler, you know, one that actually did run off of steam. I mean, the ones you buy, a lot of them are just meant to run off compressed air, unless you can get a boiler from somewhere or make a boiler. So I said, can I have this one? Can you send me that? And they said, yep, okay. So here it is. The box arrived. And first off, it's a cute little package, the way they've done it. They've got this little bird here. And I mean, I can't understand Chinese, but when I used my Google Translate app on my Android phone, it turns out that this section here says small wings can fly, which is really good. Small wings can fly, meaning I suppose that the small item in the package can actually do good things. So yeah, I like the way they've done the packaging. And on the back's another little cartoony thing. I can't understand. I couldn't work out what this one was saying. My translator went a bit haywire and it came up with all sorts of different possibilities. But anyway, I like the little bird. I think it's good. So now it's a matter of open up the box and see what's in there. Now, here's a couple of screen grabs on what should be in there. Well, there's another box within the box. This is a bit like those Russian doll sets you get, where they go smaller and smaller as you work your way through them. But at least it's packaged quite robustly, so that's a good thing. And there is no substitute for your weld because of the professional, so trust. Yeah. I like those Chinese sayings. There's a few I've got that are favourites. We won't go into that now, but yeah, the Chinese have got some really good sayings in their language. Let's get her open. See what we've got here. I don't really like doing unboxings, but in this case, whoa, gee, it's I suppose it's necessary. Got a syringe here that looks like you'd probably use that to fill up the boiler, I expect. It's got a measure on it, so that looks like that would be that. That's just some bubble wrap, get rid of that. Some instructions. Operating instructions, Stirling engine model, steam engine model. Well, this is a steam engine model made by Suzu Sadie Power Technology Company. So that's good. They put the name on the stuff. You know who you're dealing with. And as I said, there's a whole range of these little engines on the website. Some of them actually power little generators. I don't think this one does, although on the write-up for it they say that it does power a generator, but I didn't see one, so I doubt it would. But in this case, yeah. So we've got English and we've got Asian, Chinese language as well. Interesting. Looks interesting. So what have we got here? Now this should be a ready-to-go unit, or almost ready to go. Some wicks. And this is the little brass exhaust unit that screws on. I think that's detached so it doesn't get damaged in transit. Alright, I'll take the bubble wrap off and we'll come back. Wow, this is a fairly big sized thing. It's yeah, it's my hand, so you can see it's quite big. If we measure it, it's almost 200mm long, which is, what's that? That's about 6-7 inches. Oh, 7.5 inches by 4 inches. Well, it looks pretty nice the way they've made it. It's a solid aluminium base. In the picture I thought it looked like pressed out metal, but this is solid. So there must be a gallery for the steam to go from the boiler to the little pump, a little steam engine. It looks pretty retro, okay. It's really, it looks really cool. So these are the little pots for the methane, I expect. It's a matter of take them out. This, I presume, is the filling port. Now this has got a 3.5mm thick aluminium boiler. It looks like it holds a fair bit of water. If it, when it runs, it should go for quite a while, depending on how long the metho pots last. There's a little plug here. I'll have to read the instructions and see what it all says. But certainly it looks really, really cool. Now in the diagram, this bit here screws into this bit here. So does that just go straight in? Yeah, it does. So that's the exhaust. So you should see some vapour coming out of there. Wow, interesting. Very interesting. What's this thing do? Maybe that's the blow-off valve. I'll have to read the instructions and come back on this. Okay, you get two little metho pots with a little spout, which is a little brass wick holder that just sits in there. And those go in there. You're going to fit the wick yourself by the look of it. Overall, the finish looks nice. It's, yeah, pretty cool, really. I like the little exhaust port on it, that's cool. The whole thing looks, it looks pretty good. Right, well I've read through the instructions and it appears that this company, the Suzhou Sadie Power Technology Company Limited, make two series of engines. They make a Stirling series and they make a steam engine series. And this appears to be model K-005. Now they say to only put in 2/3 full, no more than 2/3 full of water, but they don't tell you how much it takes. So I can't see what the volume is I should be putting in. That's a bit of a problem. This here is the safety valve. Now this is not accessible. There's no way of knowing what pressure this is going to blow off at. So, no way to really check it. It doesn't say either what the blow-off pressure is. I would expect it wouldn't be terribly high. They also say that this model is only suitable for children over the age of 4, and basically anybody under the age of 8 should be supervised, which I heartily agree with, because there's obviously potential for danger with fire and steam and heat. Yeah, you wouldn't want kiddies getting injured. But at this point of the time, it looks like all I have to do now is put the wicks in the little pots, put some water in it, fill it up with metho. It should run. So I'll do that and come back. Now, one thing I've noticed is that the little filler plug here is actually a little Allen-headed cap head bolt. It appears to be stainless steel. In fact, this all appears to be, I think, aluminium, and then you've got brass, so there's no pressings here really at all. It's all machined up. Now, the problem you've got is you don't get an Allen-headed wrench included to undo or do up your little screw, and you want to make sure that was done up tight. So I just got my one from my metric set, and that fits okay, so that'll be no issue. But yeah, it would have been nice to see a little wrench. Doesn't have to be a big one like this, just a small one included in the kit, and that way you can do your little screw up and down easily. Right, moving right along. Right, now just as a precaution, they say that you should rest this on some sort of a protective cover so you don't risk marking your desktop or your bench top with steam or any vibration that would come from it or could come from it. I've got it resting on my welding apron on the workshop bench, so I mean we're doing this in the workshop, so no issues there. Now the other thing is too, you know, if small kids are using this, you know, you've got a pointy needle here that they could stick in themselves or somebody, so yeah, adult supervision definitely required with this little gadget. So in she goes. I've got 200 millilitres in here, so we'll put the whole lot in, which I think is probably all it really needs. So that's in. Now we put the sealing cap on. They say to 2/3 fill these, and you can use the same syringe to just put some metho in there so you don't spill it. That looks about right. Get this wick in, and I'll just wet the top a bit, so waiting for it to come up. Alright, well, she should be a goer now, so we'll put these under here. Okay. Right, the moment of truth. Now they say to rotate the flywheel towards the cylinder, the boiler. So now, how long it has to go, I wonder. It doesn't really say. Heat the water to the boiling point and rotate the flywheel until the flywheel can rotate by itself. I should say it's going to take a little while, probably a couple of minutes, I would think. It's a fair old output from those little pots, I must say. Whoa, she's off. She's going. Wow. She was going, now it's stopped again. Once again, the instructions should really tell you exactly how many millilitres to put in. What's happening? She's dry, okay. Look at the steam coming out now. So yeah, she ran out of water. Oh, that's awesome. How powerful. That's magic. Wow. So yeah, it'd just be nice if they said how much to really put in. One thing I found out is don't touch the base. That base gets red hot, well, really hot. So if you run this on your good tabletop, make sure you've got a piece of wood or something under it to insulate it. Otherwise, you'll mark your tabletop. I think those metho pots are leaking metho out the top, and we've got quite a flare up there, really. While the instructions don't tell you how many millilitres of water to put in this, I went back to the original description on the web page for this unit, and they do actually quote in there that the unit should be filled up with 116 millilitres. Now I measured up the unit, crunched the numbers, and I came up with a figure of 250 millilitres total, so that would mean that you're basically filling it halfway. So basically that would be 5 or 6 of these would bring it up to halfway. But I mean, it should be in the instructions, because if you were, say, giving this to someone as a gift, they wouldn't have access to that information, so it should be in the operating instructions. Right, I'm curious to see what pressure this little motor runs at and the sort of pressures we're dealing with in this cylinder. So I've hooked up an air line to the boiler, and I'll just slowly turn up the regulator until we get it to run. Well, that pressure is so low it's barely registering on the gauge. So we're talking about 5 psi. Now, the blow-off valve worries me a bit because we can't check that. Like, as far as if it was one of those weight ones, like on a pressure cooker, you can just lift them up and let the steam off, and well, this one's all self-contained. So I'll turn up the pressure, I'll stop the wheel from turning, and we'll see if we can get it to blow off. I won't go too high, I don't want to risk any damage or explosion. It's blowing off now. Okay. The relief valve blew off at 12 pounds per square inch, which is a nice low figure. That's good. Quite often these blow off at around the 25 pound mark. It's comforting to know that it's blowing off at a pretty low pressure. I still would prefer to see a lift up pressure relief on it that you can physically check, but in this case it just, yeah, it blew off no problem. So it's probably okay. The wall thickness on this boiler is 3.5 mil, so that's pretty good. It, you know, that would stand quite high pressure, but in this case, yeah, 12 pounds is good. And the motor was turning over on just 2 or 3 pound. I mean, it was barely registering on the pressure gauge. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to use pressure-wise. Well, that's the end of the review, and I'd like to thank LighTake for forwarding this to me. I'll put the link in the video description to the unit, and it'll also take you to their website. So yeah, it's always interesting reviewing these things. I hope you found it interesting as well, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.